What's up, Pokefighters? This is Scott, aka Baker Turtle here, bringing you a Fantasy League GBA battle um, from Dilan, coach of the Lilycove Ludicolos, versus Quinton of the Geosenge Garchomps. Um, this was the first week battle for between these two, and as you can see, Quinton Smokey of the Geosenge Garchomps decides to bring Espeon, Aggron, Heracross, Trevenant, Empoleon, and Mega Beedrill, while Dylan Urza of the Lilycove Ludicolos brings his Livani, Heatran, Rotom Wash, Golbat, Lucario, and Mega Gardevoir. So let's get started with the battle. This is a pretty long battle. It's 47 turns, so it seemed to be pretty close. Dylan leads off with his Livani as Quinton leads off with his Mega Beedrill. Dylan switches out into his Golbat, while at the same time Quinton switches out his Beedrill for Espeon. And this is not a matchup I assume Dylan would want with his Golbat, so he switches out into his Molten Goma, which is his Heatran. I assume to be specially defensive to take on Espeon, while Quinton's Espeon straight up just goes for the Calm Mind, sets up. Now, Quinton just straight up goes for the Shadow Ball. As you can see, after +1, that specially defensive Heatran, and he gets the unfortunate special defense drop, as Lava Plume does not much to anything to Espeon after one Calm Mind. So they get their leftovers, and Espeon's just gonna Calm Mind up again. Maybe perhaps going for the win here, but I don't know if he will be able to pull this off, as Dylan just straight up goes for the Lava Plume here to try to get damage. Not sure if Espeon has any recovery, like Morning Sun or anything, but now he just decides to attack, and that does a lot of damage, especially after 1+1 and a special defense drop. As now he gets the burn, so this is pretty fortunate for Dylan, and I assume he'd want to save this Heatran. I think he should have switched out after that special defense drop, perhaps into something else. But now he decides to switch out into Nasus, which is his Lucario, to take the Shadow Ball. As it goes down to 4 HP. Luckily, that wasn't a high roll. And now, after leftovers and burn damage, it looks to be in range for a priority attack. So Quinton knows this, so he wants to preserve Espeon. So he switches out into Dana, which is Empoleon, to take the extreme speed. And that does not much of anything. Could be physically defensive, but after Life Orb, Lucario goes down. So it's now 1-up for Quinton. As now Dylan decides to switch in Rotom Wash. Try to probably go for the electric type attack, as Quinton has a switch in Trevenant for this and goes straight up for the Volt Switch. And that does not much of anything. Could be Assault Vest, could be just specially defensive. But he decides to switch back into Heatran and take on this Trevenant after leftovers recovery. Quinton decides to switch out Trevenant. He doesn't want it to take a fire type attack, and I guess he just sacking his Espeon here. He saved it for Death Fodder, and straight up just goes for the Lava Plume, and down goes Espeon. So now it's tied 5-5 each of them. So it's still a pretty close match. 9 turns in, and he's just getting those leftovers recovery. And now Quinton decides to switch in his Heracross. Could be Scarf Moxie, could be Guts, but most likely he's going to be Scarfed. So Dilan wants to save Heatran, switches out into Golbat, and actually Quinton goes for the substitute. This is pretty scary, as he just goes for the Rock Blast. Now, without it being Mega, this isn't pretty smart in my opinion, since you don't know, it doesn't have Skill Link, so it might not go for all 5 attacks. Yeah, it just goes for 4 this time. It's not even a 2-hit KO, so this isn't a good matchup for Heracross, as Golbat straight up just goes for the Super Fang, as it has Infiltrator to go through that sub. Heracross just goes for the Rock Blast again. And again, going 4 times. Pretty lucky. But now Golbat's down to 27 HP as it just roosts up. And now Heracross is just going to keep going for that Rock Blast. It's going to make Golbat at least down to range so it can revenge kill it. I guess maybe sacking his Heracross, and Golbat can just go for Brave Bird here and kill him. I think so. But it just roosts up, I guess, as it keeps roosting little by little. It's getting more and more HP. Heracross realizes, you know, it's not going to win this battle, so switches out into Empoleon, as Golbat straight up just roosts up. So now we're back to square one. Golbat's full health, and Heracross is in the back at half health. So that was not good for Quinton, as Dilan decides to switch out his Golbat into Rotom Wash, as Quinton just sets up Stealth Rocks. As you see, Leftovers recovery. And Dilan most likely here just going to Volt Switch, as Quinton decides to stay in his Empoleon, and that does a lot of damage. That's not even a crit, so that is not specially defensive. That looked physically defensive after that E-Speed from Lucario earlier. So this is a physically defensive Empoleon. As it switches out into Leavanny, Empoleon just goes for the Scald on the switch, and luckily no burn on Leavanny, as he's going to switch out Empoleon into Aggron to take any physical type attacks. But a grass type attack would still be kind of doing, that does about 25%. And it's now Dilan decides to set Sticky Webs, as Aggron autotomizes, so this is going to double his speed, and I guess perhaps he's going to go for the sweep. Quinton seems to like to set up here, as Leavanny is just going to go for the Leaf Blade to get some attack damage onto the Aggron, as Head Smash is going to KO Leavanny. So Quinton's up 5-4, I believe. And now Rotom Wash is coming in. It's going to be able to Hydro Pump and KO, or yeah. And the Head Smash barely misses out on the KO here, as Rotom Wash is going to take out Aggron. So now it's tied 4-4. Still pretty close match. Turn 20. It doesn't look like there has been any stall so far. It's just been a close match, as Trevenant's going to come in and going to get hit by that Sticky Webs. And Rotom's going to go for the Pain Split. Smart move. He's going to gain all that health back, as Trevenant's just going to go for Leech Seed here. With Rotom Wash faster, it can just Volt Switch out, no problem. But Trevenant's going to get a little bit of health back right now from the Leech Seed. Not too much, since Rotom Wash doesn't have a lot of health. And yeah, so Rotom Wash is going to Volt Switch out. It's not going to do much at all. Looks like specially defensive Trevenant, as he's going to switch in Heatran, expecting a grass type attack, I assume. Yeah, and he goes for the Horn Leech. It's not going to do much at all. So it wasn't Assault Vest because he has Leech Seed. So he has to just be specially defensive. And Heatran's going to come in here and most likely just go for the straight up fire type attack. As Empoleon's going to come in, but it's not specially defensive. So this should do a lot. And it's neutral. This could be a 2-hit KO. The Defiant, I don't think he has any physical attacks, so that doesn't seem to matter. Yeah, that's going to be a 2-hit KO. He can't take 2 of those. After the leftovers, we'll see. Could be a low roll. It depends. Oh, he actually has Earth Power, so it's going to take this and pull on out. Yeah, so now we're up. Dilan's up. Crit didn't matter. He saw how much Lava Plume did at neutral, and it's not especially defensive, so. Heatran's going to get his leftovers recoveries. Beedrill's going to come in, I assume, packing the Drill Run. But again, he has the Sticky Webs up are here to stay because Empoleon went down. I assume he wanted to defog that last turn. Shouldn't have just switched in. Probably should have sacked Trevenant or something. But Beedrill's going to protect here. Get that attack and speed boost. As Heatran predicted that nicely and goes straight up for the Stealth Rocks. Is he going to switch out, predicting the Drill Run into, I assume, no, not, yeah, Golbat to be immune to the ground type attack. Beedrill's going to protect and scout and see what Golbat wants to do, as he just straight up goes for the Toxic. So he's expecting to switch out. As he just goes for the Poison Jab, try to get damage off. That's not going to do much at all. As he just roosts. So this Golbat's bulky as hell. It's not going to be able to go down easily. Should have saved that Espeon for this Golbat. But Quinton doesn't seem to be preserving the right Pokemon for the right times. As Beedrill's going to switch out into Heracross. And Golbat's just going to, after the Sticky Web, Golbat is just going to probably Super Fang or Toxic, yeah, predicting the switch. So this could be scary if he's Guts, but we'll see. He's hurt by the poison, and he just goes for the Super Fang. As he goes for the Rock Blast, we'll see. That does not look like Guts damage. So it was probably Moxie. Probably should have gone for Guts, since Dilan has Rotom Wash with who could possibly burn or Toxic Golbat. So that wasn't a smart move. He has Shell Bell actually. Not sure if I agree with that. We have a no double item rule here. You could go with double items here. So he probably could have gone leftovers if he had sub. But he's just going to sack his Heracross here. And I assume at this point it's just good game GG, because I don't see Quinton being able to break through this Golbat with Roost, Super Fang, Toxic. Heracross goes down. And Trevenant's left. So I don't know what Trevenant can do, Ghost type attack, but this Golbat's physically defensive. It can stall this out with Roost and Toxic, Super Fang. It's a pretty good set Dylan decided to bring here. He's just going to go for the Toxic, as I assume Trevenant will probably want to go for the Leech Seed and get some recovery. No, he goes for the Shadow Claw. That's not going to do much at all. Yeah, Quinton doesn't have anything for this. I think Quinton, all he has left is Mega Beedrill and Trevenant, while Dylan has Golbat, Heatran, still hasn't even brought out Mega Gardevoir, and yeah, I think it's 3 against 2 right now. We just get the Toxic damage. So Golbat's gonna switch out, because he can't Super Fang, obviously, because it's a Ghost type. And he still has Rotom Wash. As he just goes for the Will-O-Wisp. I don't know what Rotom Wash is gonna do here. I mean, Trevenant resists both stabs, probably just gonna try to Pain Split stall. But as toxic damage is gonna rack up, Pain Split isn't gonna do much at all. As it just goes for the Hydro Pump and misses. So Trevenant's gonna Leech Seed here. Heatran honestly should have switched in here to take this Trevenant down, but I don't know what Dylan's thinking about bringing Rotom Wash in here. He's just sacking his Rotom Wash. As Trevenant's gonna harvest his Citrus Berry and get that little bit of HP, but toxic damage is racking up big time. He can't really switch out into Mega Beedrill and die. Another Hydro Pump miss. As he just goes for the Horn Leech, he's gonna get a little bit of HP back. But like I said, that toxic damage, with it staying in, should switch out and then try to preserve this. But he's gonna harvest the Citrus Berry again. He's gonna eat it. And I would say at this point, Quinton should switch out regardless of what he brings in. And I think it should be over at this time with Mega Gardevoir in. Probably going to be able to Hyper Voice kill or whatever. As he Mega Evolves, yeah, Hyper Voice is going to go off. And down goes Trevenant. So Mega Beedrill is going to come in here now. Gets caught in the sticky webs, and a Side Shock should be able to kill Beedrill here, and Mega Gardevoir outspeed. No, it doesn't outspeed, even after the sticky webs. So he just straight up goes for the Poison Jab and KOs Mega Gardevoir. So that's a unfortunate kill. And again, he goes out into Golbat, even though he still has Heatran. I don't know what. Maybe he doesn't think he'll outspeed, and he'll just go for the Drill Run. So here, it's gonna be a little bit of stall fest, I assume. He's gonna have to Super Fang, as he just goes for the Poison Jab. Yeah, and that's all he has. So I don't think this Golbat can actually KO anything. Since this is a Poison type, he can't Toxic stall this. All he can do is just keep cutting his life in half. As at this point, I think Quinton should have just forfeit. He knows he can't win since Dylan has Roosts, and this is definitely more like a 5-hit KO. As he defogs, actually. Not sure why. Maybe just stalling out. He's just gonna Roost. And at this point, he's just gonna keep going for the Poison Jab. And I don't think Quinton wants to keep fighting this. But I think, honestly, Quinton could win this. Quinton probably could have won that with when all he had was Heatran left and Golbat, and he'll outspeed and be able to KO. But yeah, so that was GG. No, this isn't the battle. Don't worry. I guess there was a communication error, but Quinton forfeited at that point. But I think Quinton could have won because he had a Beedrill left, and all Dylan had was Golbat and Heatran, and he could have stalled him out with Roosts, but I guess he would have gone for Defog, and he didn't want to go for the stall. But in all intents and purposes, I think Quinton could have had that with the Drill Run on the Heatran, could have O-code, and then eventually stalled out the Golbat's Roosts with Protect, Poison Jab, drill run and I assume a bug type move. Um, but yeah, so that was the first week for Dilan. The Lilycove Ludicolos moved to 1-0, and the Quinton of the Geosenge Garchomps goes to 0-1. And that's it. See you guys next week.